What's going on, guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital. We're here with Dr. Jonathan Gluckman, CEO of SIXW Innovations. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
Fantastic. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm excited to talk. So, SIXW is a nanotechnology company that utilizes patented molecularly imprinted polymers for imprinting, capturing, and releasing substances at a molecular level. Can you tell us a bit more about this technology?
Sure. So from now on, because it's a tongue twister, we'll call them MIPS. That'll make life easier for us. So essentially I guess the easiest example I've used in the past is if you think about taking a soft piece of clay and mushing your thumb into the clay, pull your thumb out, you've created an imprint of your thumb. And that imprint has a shape and it has the size of your thumb, and maybe more importantly, it has a fingerprint which distinguishes your thumb from any other thumb. What we do is we do a similar thing. We build polymer around molecules that we want to capture so that effectively it creates the same imprint, and every molecule has a distinct size and shape. And it has some other qualities to it. So, we have to give the polymer a reason that it wants to go and collect that molecule. And so we can use things like the external charge, so there's positive and negative ions on most molecules. And so what we can do is create a complementary set of that, almost like a magnet, to provide a reason for our target molecule to go in. And because it's a fairly flexible notion from a scientific standpoint, we can apply it to many, many different areas. But fundamentally, that's what we do. We design and create polymers to capture specific molecules based on those principles.
Wow, that's very interesting. So, after years of research and development, SIXW is preparing for the commercialization of this technology. Can you tell us why now is an ideal time for products to enter the market and investors to get in?
Well, we're in the sixth wave of technology here, being in nanotechnology. And part of the reason that that's gaining more speed is because we've found and we attack problems where we can provide significant benefit to the ultimate customer. Can we make their job easier? Can we make it more efficient? Can we use less chemicals? Is it faster? And can we give them a better quality product? And so as we've matured these nanotechnologies, we've been able to apply it to some very important growth sectors. So for example, in the mining sector, we're able to do a much more efficient job of getting gold. While, it's a great time for gold. Gold's up at $1,800 an ounce. Well, if we can increase the yield for the gold mine by giving them a more efficient process by even a few percentage, right? A few hundred, or a few tens of thousands of ounces a year on their production turns into, hundreds of millions of dollars by just being able to increase their capture ability with our technology. Not only that, if you following mining, there's a lot of impetus to make mining a cleaner and more environmentally friendly. And our polymer, in comparison to the alternative technology, uses a far less power and creates less chemical waste. And so it's a greener product. So in that vertical, there are some substantial, growth opportunities and good reasons for adoption to be happening now. In our second major vertical, which is in the health and wellness kinds of areas, we're doing a couple of things. The first one is we're getting ready to launch now our cannabis purification systems. And if you followed that market, that's an expanding market. As we know, the United States, which is a huge market for this, continues to make strides for legalization, both at the statewide level and, even the news today was about more congressmen coming out and saying this federal guideline needs to be moved out and reduced because it's inconsistent with where the states and where the population wants to grow. Well, what our technology does is it helps significantly reduce the number of processes needed to go from a crude plant extract, whether it's cannabinoids or hemp products, to a full high purity distillate. And we can remove winterization, we can remove sequential distillation. And by doing that, we give the licensed producer about 30% more of the cannabinoids that they started with to sell, and we give them a higher purity product at less cost. So win-win for everybody. So as this market is expanding, rather than seeing companies continue to buy outdated and adapted equipment from the scientific laboratories, we have a ready-made solution that's really tailored to that. And then I guess more recently and maybe more urgently in some people's minds, we've been able to, definitively show that we can do this and capture biological entities like viruses and bacteria. And so we have been focusing on adapting this now using the same molecular imprinting techniques to be able to detect viruses. And so we're very quickly moving down a road to have prototypes of our first introduction of a COVID-19 test. And of course, as we develop that platform, for us to replace it with a different virus and be able to look at things that have been around and plaguing industry, like the cruise industry's been plagued with norovirus, for example, for years and years, makes you sick, but not COVID. We can adapt this very readily to those existing threats. And we all know that there are going to be emerging new threats in the viral area, and there's going to be continued testing requirements for COVID. So we're very excited not only about being able to address this world level issue, but also the future to be able to utilize this technology for a long time across a wide variety of viral threats.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see it. So SIXW has the ability to completely disrupt several massive markets. I know we just talked a little bit about that, but can you tell us more about the market opportunities and why the company is primed for success?
Sure. Maybe I'll try and go through the verticals again. Our most mature technology and the one that we fully commercialized and we're into mass manufacturing is required for is the Ixos product in the gold mining market. And again, I think that the driving force there is that we've been able to show with pilot systems installed at some of the major mining operations. We've piloted with Agnico Eagle and with Barrick and with Kinross, and then with some smaller mines, and we can talk about more of where the adoptions are. We've been able to show that with our process, we can increase their yields of gold, and we can do it cheaper and faster. We can save them carbon footprint. And what that translates into for them is somewhere on the order of $100 or $150 an ounce of increased profit to the bottom line for whatever the gold mining company is mining at that property. So if they're 100,000 ounce per year, then we get to give them another $150 per that 100,000 ounces that they're mining per year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So the impetus is there. We have other technology in the mining market. We have some lithium technology for lithium mining and recycling, and we'll be doing some things in the very near future to be trying to roll that out as well. In the health and wellness sciences, of course, we've talked about where we are with the affinity systems for the cannabinoid purification. In this particular case, I talked just briefly, but the real market advantage for the LP is, hey, if I'm, taking plant material and I'm getting, 10% cannabinoids or 20% cannabinoids out of that, I want to be able to sell all that 20% cannabinoids. Mm-hmm. But when they have to go through their existing processes, a lot of those cannabinoids can either be damaged by heating and cooling, or they can be lost because they're not efficiently separated and they're left in the waste streams. And they can lose between 20 and 40% of the cannabinoids that they started with before they get to their end product, which our target is the distillates and tinctures and how they're being used later for edibles and that. So they get a distillate, and they may be getting a distillate in the 80% purity. Well, with our system, we have virtually no losses of those cannabinoids, and we don't have to do any heating and cooling, so there's no opportunities for the cannabinoids to be damaged. And at the end of our process, we're getting them in the mid 90% purity level. cells. So not only are they getting more of them, but they're getting a higher quality product at the end to sell. And so that gives them the ability to make more money. It gives us the ability to make more money. And not only that, we're reducing the cost of processing, the cost of going from that crude extract to that final distillate by somewhere between 25 and 30% as well. So it's a tremendous savings by changing the paradigm in that industry. And so we have inquiries every day coming in, and as we're moving later into the third quarter here, we'll be starting to really entertain taking on people for deliveries through next year, and we expect very high adoption there. So that's exceptionally good. And then, of course, the sky's the limit with the virus stuff, and we'll have to see. Our first target is probably going to be something that is a quasi-home use, but certainly clinical setting use test, because that will be the fastest and easiest. But ultimately, what we'd like to be able to do is get virus detection in something simple like a mask. So think about this. You put on a mask, your kid puts on a mask while they're driving to school. The mask has our little detector in it, maybe an RFID chip that's attached to it. And as they walk through the door to get into the school, it's read automatically. And if they're detected with whatever the virus of interest is at that point, they're not admitted. But at least we know that there's no community spread happening there. Kids can take their mask off because now they've been tested, and they can be tested anytime. Mm-hmm. And you could test yourself anytime and be able to have it report out to your cell phone. So ultimately, because we're doing this in polymers in a completely artificial mechanism, we don't have to worry about some of the issues and the lack of ability to take forward things like immunoassay and PCR tests to these kinds of applications. This is just as good for business, or if you're going to the local hockey game or a concert or something like that. Think about just being able to be tested almost instantaneously with something simple like that. But I think the company has been trying to grow and mature. We're trying to attack 3 different market segments in some regards, and so we have experts in each area. One of the areas we've concentrated on recently is maturing our board of directors to have representatives and critical thinkers, independent thinkers that both represent some of our verticals and a more mature approach to the market. And that's been very important for us. On the technical and managerial side, of course, there's myself, there's our Vice President of Innovation, Dr. Garrett Kraft, who's been our lead designer for some of these MIPs and has co-authored a number of the patents and patent applications that we have. We have Mr. Sherman McGill, who's our Executive Vice President for Business Development and Strategic Partnering. Sherman actually is one of the co-founders of the company with myself. He's got 35 plus years experience. Before he and I started working together, he was part of a new start in a military-oriented company that eventually was sold to L3 Communications. So he's got a lot of that kind of experience. And then, of course, there's our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. John Callan. John comes from a very, very deep base of manufacturing. And of course, as we move into manufacturing of our affinity system, our beads, and of course, moving into potentially medical devices, John has experience in automotive aerospace as well as in medical devices. So bringing that experience on board this year has been phenomenal. So those are our key players.
Awesome, quite the experienced team.
Yeah.
So what should investors watch out for from 6W in the coming months?
Well, I think the coming months are really going to be good. We have a lot of news. We have a lot of progress going on. We've been kind of quiet for the last few months because we've had our heads down actually doing the work that needs to get done. But over the next month, we're going to be taking our next steps to start the production lines up for the affinity. to be delivering our pre-production units to our first customer, to converting some of our sales pipeline in Affinity into actual customers with orders. On the IXO side, I said we have a lot of these programs that we've already gotten under contract even to take the next stages for piloting, and as soon as we can get out of at Canada in the United States and go to install this equipment, we'll be able to take the next steps toward adoption with the mining companies that we're currently working with. And as I said, I was on the phone again last night with another mining company wanting to investigate us for 2 of their properties. So we see that growing and new announcements happening in that field as well. And then we're really hopeful that in the next 3 to 4 months, we're going to have our first full prototypes of our virus detecting, for COVID-19. And, again, I don't see COVID-19 going away. I see the pandemic, growing and ebbing and flowing in different countries. But even if we're doing nicely here in North America, there's going to be worldwide need and consumption for quick and easy testing. And we hope to fill that void.
Wonderful. So finally, how can investors get in touch with you?
Well, please visit our website. There is a reach to us there. There are wonderful folks like you who can help put them in contact with us, and they can reach out directly to Mark McDonald here at our corporate offices in Halifax, and he'll help arrange finding information as need be. So we look forward to hearing from folks. We love the questions that they propose to us, and hope we can get them on our side.
Great. Well, thank you so much, John, and I look forward to covering your story.
Thanks. We look forward to talking to you again.
All right. Hope you have a great day.
You too.
All right, guys, that wraps up the video. Thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to say, if you do support me, the channel, and all these videos, then kindly smash that like button along with hitting the subscribe button and the bell for notifications for future videos. I did also want to say, check the disclaimer down below. This video was sponsored by the company that we are talking about today. So check the disclaimer, full disclosure, and we're out of here. Always remember, guys, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you make your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. We'll see you guys in our next video.